Lately, I've really been thinking a lot about friendships and how differently I understand them now, especially as I've gotten older in my 40s. And I recently just pre ordered because it doesn't come out until mid May. I just pre ordered Alex Elle's book, The Company We Keep. And I just wanted to have that conversation today around friendships and just reading the description of the book and me thinking about friendships more in this season of my life. I wanted to have the conversation. So let me read what The Company We Keep is actually about. It says the company we keep offers readers permission to evolve in their friendships and reminds us that people we surround ourselves with are not only mirrors, but key companions on the lifelong journey of healing, self trust, and belonging. Alex shares her unflinching journey of learning to stop abandoning herself in the name of loyalty, to take ownership of the energy she brought into relationships, and to tell the truth even when it cost her comfort. The company we keep is not just about cultivating our most meaningful friendships. It's about becoming a better friend to ourselves first. And I don't know about you, but I've been following Alex's work for years and I knew that this book was coming. And just by reading that, I was like, oh, I just cannot wait to have this book in my hand. And again, it just made me want to have this conversation today about how I'm thinking about friendships, how I'm navigating friendships, my desire for friendships, and just thinking about my friendships all the way back from a little girl to my teenage years and now in early adulthood and now, in my 40s. But I became, if you don't know who Alex Elle is, go look her up. She is a beautiful writer. Her work is transformative. She talks a lot about healing and self-help, and she's amazing. And I first was introduced to Alex maybe 2021, maybe. I It was right before I was at the brink of my burnout experience and I left my corporate six-figure job. But prior to that, around 2021, I took a vacation to a wellness resort in Arizona. And if you've never been to a wellness resort, you do not know the treat that you are missing. Oh, it was one of the most glorious 5 days of my life. Now, they aren't cheap, but it was worth every single dollar. So it was in Arizona. And the last day of my vacation, Alex was on site working, but she was facilitating a journaling workshop on gratitude. So that's when I first began. It was like ten of us in this workshop at the resort. And her spirit, her aura, her kindness, I just knew she was someone who I wanted to learn more about her work. So I started following her on socials. I took some of her writing workshops. And even when I got to the point of wanting to write my book, I reached out to her to be my writing coach. And we had a meeting. And it was right before the time that she was getting her contract for this book. So we couldn't make it work. She said, Erica, I want to be able to give you the attention that you need, but and I have to start writing my next book. So she referred me to someone else and I had a beautiful experience with her, wrote my book. It's out, Release and Renew. Go check it out. But Alex's work is a masterpiece. But this new book, The Company We Keep, and if you've grown up in the South like I did, and maybe it was stated elsewhere in the country too, but you heard that a lot from like the older people in your life, like your elders, kind of like beware or be careful or be mindful of the company that you keep. And just reading that, I guess, summary of her book, it just made me think back to my early elementary school days where I can like remember like my first like neighborhood friend and like my first like elementary school group of friends. Like I still remember them all today. My mom, well, my parents who still live in my hometown, they'll see one or two of them every now and again. I really don't stay in touch with them much. We kind of lost touch. But when I got to high school in ninth grade, I met my best friend who is still my best friend to this day. Hey girl, hey. And first of all, I know that is rare because I don't know how many people have, 20, 30, 40-year, friendships at this time. And my best friend is someone who literally I trust 100%. I feel like there's only, well, now 3 people on this planet that I trust 100%. And I was my mom, my dad, and now like my best friend. And the things that I really value about that is like, again, like us being friends for so long, like the history there, the deep level of trust that we have in each other, the consistency, how we show up for each other. And we live in different cities, so we don't see each other much current day, but we have a weekly touch base where we just, call and catch up. And throughout our friendship in high school, we went to college together. We had an apartment in college together. We were just really a part of each other's formative lives. And I will just be forever grateful for that. Like I said, she's one of the few people that I have in my life that I feel like I can trust 100%. But in the same token, I also had other girlfriends who I stayed close with from high school. One of them I actually met in middle school, and we, stayed good friends into our adult lives. But I lost that friendship after I had made the decision to leave my 6-figure corporate career after burnout. I think there was just a lot of miscommunication and her not understanding, because we were on like very similar career trajectories and career paths and climbing the corporate ladders and chasing the bag and all of the things. And when I was like, I don't want to go that way anymore. I think there was, she just didn't understand. And that led to a series of other events, and we're no longer friends. And I think that was one of the hardest parts, realizing that dear friendships can, grow apart when, life circumstances changes in each other's lives, desires changes, how we want to work and live changes, that friendships can separate. And again, I still have a lot of love for her, and my prayers, I pray for her and her family. But again, it just really made me think about my season right now and, how I view friendships. And we all know that as we become adults, that it becomes more difficult to make like true, genuine friendships, like the lives that we're living, how we're navigating our work, our personal time. And it's also slower, that just navigating our own lives makes it difficult to build true relationships, because they require a lot of intention and they require a lot of efforts. And I just feel like making friends as adults is just different. But in that same token, I have been able to make friends, and I would say one dear friend in particular, in my adulthood. And we met, which is odd now that I'm like really thinking about this and having this conversation. We met on social media. We were both in the style industry at the time, and we met that way on social media. And she happened to move to the area and we connected. And she has become a very, very dear, safe, fun, really fun girlfriend. And I feel like that's hard to come around, but it also takes intention, it takes effort, it takes, some people come into your life for very particular reasons and seasons, and cherishing those times, if it's a short time, if it's a long time, just whatever that season may be, cherishing that while we have it. Yeah. And also I'm thinking about, like, I was never the type of person like to, I won't say never. I was very cautious and still am very cautious about making friends like at work, because that can always just be a very tricky situation. And in my 20s, I met a really, really good work friend at work, and we stayed friends for years, but she moved and we lost touch. But she was a very dear friend that I met at work. I had another dear friend that I met at work when I got in my corporate career, and she ended up passing. And more recently, I would say I've met a dear friend at work at well, and she's just, we're very connected when it comes to our faith and our belief in God, and how we're trying to continue to build our relationship with God and get closer to God. She's a foodie, so, and then we also have a deep interest in like human behavior, so we have a lot of conversations about that. And I don't know, it just, again, just pre-ordering Alex's book just brought up all these thoughts around friendship and what they look like. Because if you let the internet tell it, I just feel like you see a bunch of, oh, women aren't good friends, women can't be friends with each other. Like you see, well, you hear all of the negative things, and I get it. Like, humans tend to lean more negative. Things get more viral when they're negative. I understand that, but there are many great women friendships in the world that are showing up for each other, supporting each other. And I think, after reading Alex's things, and I think the part about, as we explore friendships and we have the desire for deeper friendships or more friendships or new friendships, really evaluating how you care for yourself, how you show up for yourself, how much you're a friend to yourself, to mirror how you might show up for someone else. And if I'm honest, I feel like I am in a season, especially as I'm redesigning this life and building this work that I desire and all these things. I am interested in curating and cultivating more aligned friendships that I share same values with, especially in regards to building lives that we desire and doing work that we desire. But I feel like oftentimes, me personally now, and as I'm having this conversation, you let me know if any of this is resonating with you. I'm an introvert by nature, and I don't be going outside like that often. And I think those could be, like, I'm not the most social person. I think that could be a barrier, and it takes me it takes me a long time to warm up to people. It's just who I am. But it's like once I feel like I can trust you, I can be the most loose, silly, goofy person in the world. But it just takes for me really seeing that I can trust you. And trust to me comes over time. And I also have been opening myself up to more online communities just to see if there's women in those spaces that I can connect with. I do feel like I've met some women who I think are like associates now that might be able to develop into friendships from my presence on LinkedIn. And again, just sharing some of the same values in the area of health and wellness and work and ambition. Because I do want to have deeper community, because what I do know is that we can't do life alone. I mean, we can, but is it the healthiest? No, I don't think so. And while you don't have to have a huge friend circle, which that's really not my vibe anyway, you do want a close group of friends that you can trust. And I think you need, 4, 5 or so good friends, because you also don't want to be in a space where you have 1 or 2 good friends and then you're leaning on those 2 people for everything. So I don't know. I just think that, like I said before, I know we're not meant to do this life alone, but I think having the right friends really do matter. And pre-ordering Alex's book just kind of opened up the floodgate of my thoughts around friendships and past friendships, previous friendships, my present friendships, and how I desire my friendships to continue to evolve, and how I want friendships to look in the future. And that's like the ones you could be honest with, the ones that you can not have to be performative around. You can tell the truth around. You can be ugly. I like that. Just sit like, you have that friend that you can she come over your house and you go over her house and y'all could just be ugly and laugh and kiki and just maybe catch up on a show or cook or whatever y'all can do together. Those are like the best friends, like the friends that you don't have to abandon yourself around, hide parts of yourself for, or again, like perform or become someone else just like to be their friend. So yeah, that's the conversation. I know this might have been a little over the place, but let me know what's something that you value mostly about friendships, and what friendships may mean to you in this season of your life. Yeah, let me know down in the comments. I'm Erica Prevail, and I share daily conversations helping ambitious women rework their relationship with ambition, capacity, rest, and creativity. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.